Alright, little book review on Joel Skousen's A Secure Home. It's apparently one of his newer books, 3rd edition. I picked this up at the Survival Expo in Portland, Oregon. I also listened to as much of Joel Skousen's lecture as I could. The problem with my hearing and ambient noise in the building was such that I couldn't make out much of what was being said. And I hope that when they do conferences in the future, they'll do them someplace that's more conducive to people actually being able to hear what's going on in the hall. But I want to do a little review on this, and I try to do an initial review at the hall on the book, because Mr. Skousen's body of knowledge is exhaustively researched. Okay, the full-size book, over 650 pages of information here. A tremendously huge amount of information which him and his people have gained over time. I was able to talk to a contractor at the expo who's an exhibitor who does bunker buildings and stuff like that. These guys definitely know what they're talking about. It's not just metadata that, you know, they put stuff together that they all got from other sources. They're definitely doers in the world of this type of stuff. One of the things that's going to seem daunting and intimidating to a lot of people at my level on this is that it appears to be definitely geared toward the upper class or lower upper class or upper middle class. A lot of what's in here is not necessarily affordable or reachable for a lot of people who would like to implement a lot of this stuff. And one of the things I'm going to be going over is how we can implement a lot of this on a smaller scale for what we might call normal people or 99%ers. This is, although I would say this is below your 1%er level, but it's an idea on how that works when the experts really give the advice. And if you plan on working in this field, and I would say, a lot of the people that are involved with this stuff are contractors, they're builders, they're people who do things. If you're going to be working at remote location, retreat construction, you need to be well versed with this book and the information in it. If you're going to be a security consultant for individuals, now corporate security consulting is a little bit of a different world. I've worked in both worlds, and one of the issues with corporate security consulting versus private security consulting is, on the private side, is whether or not you're taken very seriously. A lot of times somebody is going to be selling their past accomplishments, and then the actual information they provide may or may not be really hip or relevant. And that's why on the private side, a lot of your higher quality information is actually going to come from private sources. And I've noticed this when information consulting tried to use prior government people on a lot of projects, and it just doesn't, it doesn't always work with them because they're accustomed to dealing with high budget situations. And I recently had a situation with an IT consultant on kind of a low budget situation with a retired lady. His solution, of course, was it's impossible without spending a lot of money. She was able to solve the problem for about $6 a month. So again, a lot of these things are the high-end way of doing stuff. So you will find yourself wanting to adopt changes. But I would highly suggest, at least for my viewers and people who want to take this stuff seriously, the handymen, the builders, the remodelers who want to get involved in survival retreat construction and some of that type of stuff, I would definitely get a copy of Joel Skousen's book. Don't just check it out of a library. Go buy it. Get familiar with a lot of this stuff. And if you plan on hiring anybody to do this type of stuff, I'm not saying go ahead and play quiz games with them, because people are going to have different opinions on this, but they should have at least heard of Joel Skousen and his book. And they should have some working knowledge of a lot of the same information that's here, because it's very possible for you to spend a shit ton of money and not get what's going to work, or get something that's not going to work, or get something that It works because that's what somebody else is selling. It's not necessarily what's the best thing for your situation. So there's a lot of stuff here, and I'm going to put this recommendation out to get this book if you're involved in retreat construction upgrades. If you plan on hiring anybody for that, no, not every single worker needs to know this. But if you're hiring a contractor, a subcontractor, the guy should get up to speed to a lot of what's going on here. There's a lot of information that I gained that's not in the book just from meeting the people and hanging out for a day. I'll go over that in future videos and get this thing uploaded. And so we're just going to call this a book review. I'm not sure if this is available on Amazon. As you can see, I had it autographed. But I think it's a little bit of a discount if you buy it at one of his lectures. So I'm not gonna quote what the price was, because I think I may not have paid full price for this. Anyway, we'll talk later, and you'll see more uploads on the channel.